And so the Lord of God heard this angel, and there is a prosperity angel that just stays with you. The flanking on one side is prosperity, on the other side is warfare. The enemy has tried and tried and tried, but I stand in the presence of the Lord to say to you that the enemy will never prevail against you financially. That even though there's been some strain sometimes, but the Lord is telling me to tell you that the battle is over and that the victory is yours in manifestation form. That even as this has happened today, the Lord says that it's always been line upon line and line upon line and layer after layer, says the Lord. I have not forgotten. The Lord says, I have not forgotten. I remember and I never forget the seed sown that you have planted, the things that you have done for many in my body, year after year and decade after decade. So I say to you, you don't have to fight anymore. I got this battle. And I rejoice in the Lord, says the Lord. Hallelujah. Come on, give God a shout over there. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Watch, just watch, man of God. Just watch. Hallelujah. I just decree on platforms to be revealed. Platforms, speaking engagements, and platforms in Jesus Christ's name. You're going to be at the top of the registers. You're going to be at the top of the register. Who is it? I've never heard of. What's his name? Dr. Joseph Rodriguez? Yes. All the seeds that you have planted, all the seeds. Put your finger at him and say, it's harvest time. Now give God a shout for that. In the name of Jesus. Any old something right now. Man of God, I'm speaking about the secrets in your heart. And I'm sensing some things that I can't say because it's been only between you and God. I'm standing in the place where God is whispering to me the secrets of your heart. Watch and see what God will do. Wow. Hallelujah. 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 See, you thought you came here for one thing, but God set you up tonight. He set you up tonight. Hallelujah. Amen. Well, let me just say, I could be official with this, but I won't. I just want want to let you know that he is a friend of ours. I've been for many years been observing him at a distance. And we found out he came back to Saginaw and started a work. The school that he had been noticed, and many were involved. Many were involved in this region. All the words that he has planted, all the investment made. I just wanted to know we love you. God loves you most. I have to give you the mic now because I just feel the Lord. I feel His love for you, my brother. How the Lord loves you. And all the great things that you have done. Let me tell you something. And I didn't plan this, so I'm just speaking from my heart. This is a great man. This is a great man. And he's a humble man. And he's a spirit-led man. And we just thank God that he's in our midst today. I want you to stand up and show him some kingdom love. His choir's going to come under his instruction. And I want you to just put those hands together for the man of God.
God's presence is in this place. Hallelujah. As the choir arranged themselves, just want to say, I stopped by here this morning to talk to the sound people, and Mother Johnson was up teaching. And I heard her when she declared that the prosperity angel was in this house. And I don't know if y'all heard it, but she also said it's your season. And when Pastor told us that he wanted us to come over here and sing, I went before God and I asked him what song he wanted us to minister with. And guess what the name of the song is? It's your season. So anybody in the house that feels that your season's been a long time coming, the word of God went forth on this man. I'm piggybacking on her, piggybacking on the man of God. It's your season. No matter what it is that God has told you to do, it is your season. Your dreams that you put down, I declare and decree as of today, you will pick them up. You're not too old. The devil will tell you, you don't got too old for that. But you're not too old to pick your dreams back up. The vision that God has given you, the vision will come to pass. Because why? It's your season. It's your season not only to be blessed, but it's your season to walk in whatever God has called you to walk in. How many of y'all are in this season? Oh, come on this side. How many of y'all are in this season? Okay, I'm on the other side to remember what y'all just did. How many of y'all are in your season? Okay, you don't go by this. You go by this. You won't see it in the natural, but it's already taken care of in the spirit. So we got to get on in the spirit and pull it on into the natural. And how you do that? You do it by faith and obedience. Tell your neighbor, it's your season. And you ain't seen nothing yet. Come on, stand to your feet. I need some volume on that.
14 on? Turn 14 Everything's on. Got it straight? Okay, now put it on. Okay, turn it down. Okay, now turn it on. Now turn it on. Turn it off. He too close to that one. Handheld. Turn the handheld on. Turn 22. Now turn it on. Is it working? There it is. He was too close.
Vessels of God, and it's more than a blessing when you got two people, two servants, all in one house. But not a title, but one sent from heaven. And that's what makes a difference. Because when God opens the windows and sets somebody in place, there's going to be increments of the glory of God and steps of God that are ordered by God. And when people come in, what they have will come on the people here in this community. So I appreciate your passion. There's so much excellence in this place here. For many times when I drive by, meetings, sometimes I go by here. But I always see a process. I see elevation, I see steps forward of God. It's about every move we've made spiritually, but also physically. I've seen it, so there's not too many places you go that there's a combination of excellence in the spirit, but excellence the production of it. Sometimes there's sometimes a man and a woman operate the spirit.
He got on handheld.
But there's
20.
the follow through from the spirit, from the excellence to the manifestation of it. You don't see it, and I've seen it in this man and woman of God. So I salute you. I respect you. To me, it's an honor. I count it a blessing and an honor when you invite me here. I say thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Amen. Am I supposed to go on with this mic? Apostle? Okay, let me see. I've got two more books taken out.
14.
You.
I don't know what they're going to do.
God's to tell you this. It's already done. It's finished. It was a process, but it's finished. My hands on it, and because my hands on it, I sealed it. And so forget it. It's all set. Go on. You got things to do. Minister in that area. I've got something left for you too. I am. The Spirit of God is saying He is not going to be. And there's some challenges to go home because the Spirit of God was, you know what? I'm in charge of the operation. Shot! Say it! Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Celebrate. 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 God is good. God is good. His mercy endures forever. Thank you, Lord. Father, I thank you so much. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Fill me with that which is needed. I must have you here upon me. Speak to hearts and minds. Challenge us. Give us the strength, give us the abilities, fresh anointings, further anointings on those that need it for whatever you call us to do. But thank you for the set man and the set woman of this house. If they have obeyed you, thank you, Lord. And also the Lord has said this: all that you've done, all the foundations that you have set, not just one foundation, but many foundations from the foundation. See, there's the foundation, and then there's a foundation, and a foundation, and a foundation. Those foundations are based on the trust level, the faith level, and the faithfulness level of both of you, says the Spirit of God. And I've been teaching you and ministering and pruning to both of you. And now says the Lord, because I've set your name here, there, and over there, it is for a purpose and a season. And now you're ready to do exceeding above and beyond. But I had to prepare you, and you submitted and you yielded. In the storms, you got up. Both of you got up and walked on water. You walked on my word. You yielded. And you yielded in the midst of a storm. Many I've called to do what I've called both of you to do. But it was too much for them, because they took it upon themselves that they thought it was them. But you never have applied yourself like that. You've always known that it was me. And that's why in the storm, when darkness came at you, darkness meaning the powers that rule under satanic things, the quest for your lives in this ministry. But you stood. And now I'll send them now even in the greater force. I'll send them even more, says the Spirit of God. But they don't know how to do the things that I've taught you. They're desperate. And they're falling. And they're starting and quitting. Starting and quitting and starting and quitting. So I had to put these things in you. These principles and these laws. To put them there. Because they need what you got. Freely given, freely received. Yeah. Go on with it. Go on with it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Good to be in the presence of the Lord. It's good to be in the presence of God. Jesus is the Holy Ghost. Glory to God. Fortified by His presence. Baby, stand up. This is my beautiful sweetheart. As I begin, when Apostle called me, my, so much everything. Breakthrough, Rushle, ikra brehende boye. Isne eno gostivas, bro brehe ino ore, bren istu ore, bras brush bris. Yeah. Shirobore ese, someone undisce ese, ese, Brush tiki bish, nene, suku brushi. A flow, says the Spirit of God. A flow of the Spirit. A flow of an indication of which way to go, and when to stop, and what to say, and what not to say, says the Spirit of God, and to know the season, and to know the season that you're in, says the Spirit of God, if you come in. And when you come in, you're going to come in unhindered, and I'm going to do some things with you that you could never do before. I want to do those things for you, says the Lord, yeah. But move into the flow. Yeah. Go with me, says the Spirit of God. And as you flow with me, says the Spirit of God, oh, it'll be easy. The challenge will come, but the easiness of my Spirit and my anointing upon you shall cause you to say, this is a good thing. And others, when they come around, they'll sense the anointing and the power and the might of my Spirit upon you. And I'll give you the words to say, and you'll speak words, and people will be set free. Oh my, and happiness shall be immediately, says the Spirit of God, for the word that I put within your heart and in your mouth, says the Spirit of God. Words of season, yeah, words of season, words of, proclamations of what? Proclamations of setting the captives free, of those those that are sent to you, and those that I'll send you to, said the Spirit of God, for there's two ways to this, says the Spirit of God, for I hear the cry. And so if you listen and flow with my Spirit, and set them free. Yeah. As the Spirit of God, Apostle, began to speak to me about your years of ministry, faithfulness of both of you, he gave me this word for you and prophetess, because you're the set man and set woman of this house. And it'll fall in you as you receive it, and I know you receive it and give it to your people and for those that are coming. They're coming. And it's in quest for your dreams, and your goals. Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Thank you, Father God. We give you praise, honor, and glory. We thank you for all your presence and your anointing on every man and woman in this place. Every ministry, every family, every man, every woman, every young person that has a vision and a goal and a dream. Thank you that they're here. Everybody has a quest. What is a quest? A quest is a search or pursuit made in order to find or to obtain. I'll say it again. A quest is a search or pursuit made in order to find or to obtain. Every person that follows God, and we see it in the scriptures, you need a person. You need a place and you need a book. The book would be the Bible. The man would be the person or woman or man that God tells you to go to. You don't choose the person, God chooses them, and when you go to them, they'll know. Yeah. See? Then you need a place. A person, a place, and a book. Because no man is an island. You need a mentor, you need a counselor, you need a pastor, you need an apostle, you need a prophet, you need a pastor, you need a teacher. And then God will send you every one of those dreams. But you have to believe in your God-given dreams. Notice how the Holy Spirit qualified God-given dreams. Then you have to believe in your credibility. That's good. Some people believe in God, but they don't believe in themselves. God believes in you and I by calling us. Believe in exposing your dream. Believe in exposing your dream to scrutiny. If you believe small, you'll commit small. But if you believe big, you commit big. Like this man and woman of God. Somewhere down the road, you may come across a piece of paper written many years earlier about a dream. And I know you have. many years earlier that could have been a magnificent obsession, but it was lost. I've been there. I've been there. Lost because of apathy, neglect, or indifferences. Yet your dream belongs only to you. It's still in you. And your dream is only achievable by you. No one can achieve your dreams. Only you can achieve your dream. And only you can give it life. Only you can assure its destination. And what we do makes a difference. What you do makes a difference. When I say it makes a difference, regardless of the obstacles. And if you're called, you're going to face obstacles. We cannot have a better record than Jesus. And you create your own destiny. And then you create your own destiny, but you make a mark that others admire. You create your destiny, and you make a mark that others said, me too. I want to know about this. How are you doing this? And so in the book of Isaiah, I'm just going to use for the sake of time, in Isaiah chapter 6, 1 through 7, here are the sequences or steps and orders of God that we face in life. In Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 through 7, Isaiah says something. Here he's a prophet of God. And in a vision he goes to God. And when he saw God, he saw a holy God. But he saw himself. And he saw that he was needy. He was needy, and he said, I'm imperfect. Because he said, woe is me, a prophet of God. Said, woe is me. He saw others around him. He saw God himself. But when you have a vision from God, that vision will change you. That vision will cause you to stretch. And so he began to stretch, and at that point he began to say, God, allow me to be part of this vision and dream. Allow me. So Isaiah went from woe is me. In chapter 6, we had a vision from God. He said, send me. Woe is me. And he got in front of God and said, well, I'm imperfect. I'm missing. I got something missing. And then the tongues that from the throne of God was speaking of purity. Put it on his lips. He said, woe is me. Now I can be your mouthpiece. And he said, woe is me. What can you do? What do you do? See, one idea started this. One concept. That's right. One meditation, one spending time alone. This is the result. Yes, wow. A God-given dream is started in the heart of God, in the mind of God. It started in that place called heaven, in the realm of glory. It started in the realm of glory. But God said, I want to share it, but I need to find me a man and a woman that can say, send me. Send me. One witty invention God can give you, started toward your vision, to your goal, to the dream that you have inside. Conceive and then give it birth. You conceive, then you give birth. Inside you have power. That dream comes with power. That vision comes with the anointing. And desire acted upon becomes power. Not a desire, but a burning desire. Glory to God. God is a consuming fire. That desire has to consume you. When it consumes you, it brings purity and removes impurity. Oh, I can't, I want to quit, and I'm not able to do it. Why should I do it? That desire, glory to God from heaven, is divine, and it speaks not only of the one that got the dream, but of those that are going to be involved in the dream, of those that might commit suicide, might go to hell, and might rape and might murder, but the vision says, I'm calling you, and I'd like you to speak to, and I'm going to draw to you, and that anointing is going to remove burden and destroy yokes, and they won't rape, and they won't murder, and they'll have good marriages. We'll be challenged for it. We're going to be challenged. But regroup when we fall. I've done it many times. A righteous man falls 7 times. But God is saying it's not the number, it's the reason you get up is my ability. When you're down, I still love you. Because I love you unconditionally. When you're down, that's why you can get up. Because my love covers a multitude of sins. We'll be challenged and big deal, but regroup and start again. It's not over until you say it's over. I said it's not over until you say it's over. In 1 Samuel 30, I know apostles and prophets have taught many times. 1 Samuel chapter 30, 1 through 6, these men had to encourage themselves. You have to encourage yourself in the Lord. That's why this man and woman have been called to put a foundation in those that are called around it, and they'll know how to encourage themselves. Glory to God. Don't wait for God to encourage you. He said, no, you encourage yourself. Encourage yourself with the anointing. Encourage yourself with the mentoring. Encourage yourself with the teaching, with the Word of God, with the anointing. Every time you come in here, you don't just come here and you get the anointing. You take the anointing with you. It lingers. I said it lingers. So you've been destined to win. God didn't call none of us to lose. He called us to win. He said you will win if you don't cave in and quit. Glory to God. If you don't give in and quit. And God has given you keys. Keys in the Bible, you know yourself, is authority. So I've given you keys. I've given you authority. Glory to God. And God said, I have given you, in Luke chapter 10, verse 19, He said, I give you authority, not power, authority over all the power of the enemy. And nothing shall by any means. You got to get it in here, because in here it'll be a threat. In the flesh, you'll say, no, I can't. I don't have enough money. I'm white, I'm black, or I'm too old, I'm too young. I don't know. No! There's no age in the Spirit. There's no time in the Spirit. There's no failure in the Spirit. There's only a conqueror in the anointing. We're more than conquered. We're not conquered. We're more than conquered. There's no quit in us. God's in us. The Godhead is in us. Hallelujah. The Son of God has restored us. He's not going to restore you. He has restored us. He set you free from the restrictions and the limitations of sin. Sin means to miss the mark. There's the action of sin, but then there's the nature of sin that causes the action of sin. But we have been redeemed from what? The noun sin. See? So we won't have the verb sinning. Big difference. I said there's a big difference. So he has delivered us and removed the limitations. In other words, we were once blind, but now we can see. When I talk about seeing, I'm not talking about seeing with the flesh, I'm talking about perception of the Spirit. To perceive how God perceives you. To perceive what God perceives of the situation, and God always knows what to do. So He tells you, see, He says, go because I perceive, because I'm perfect. And if you get my perception, you won't question, you just go ahead and do it. You won't look for how much you got. Right. How much you don't have, how many members you have, or how much money you have. You just go. Bible says when God told Noah build, Noah started building. Noah built and he didn't say, well, I've never built nothing. Noah didn't say, I don't know nothing about this. No, when God said Noah, Noah was building. That's why we need to have our confidence, trust in God and in the flesh. You got to believe whatever God tells us. Whatever God tells you. If not, you're going to stay a slave to the flesh. The beggarly elements of this world. When I say world, I mean this system, a cesspool of sin and sickness. That's what I'm talking about. We're not going to go by the system, we're going to buy the kingdom of God.
That's right.
When God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, He's not talking about just a place, He's talking about seek the principles and laws. A place is a kingdom and a law. That system out there is run by greed. It's run by hate and bitterness and jealousy and envy. So when I say we're not going to go by that, we're not going to go by the system, no, by the principles and the law that operate the system. But we were blind, but now we're in the kingdom of God. What do you mean? Now we're in the principles and laws that are divine, that supersede the natural. That's why you have to win. You got to win because you're operating a divine principle and law. In other words, you're overcoming the laws, the principles there, like you're walking on water because you're walking on the Word. And you just take off. Why? Because you know who's before you. Huh? You know who called you, who sent you to do it. When you get there, God says, yeah, I was waiting on you, but I was waiting because I knew you'd get here, because what I put on you, I knew you'd get here. We've been redeemed. Purchased because of the gift of righteousness. God has told us there in Romans 5:17, rule and reign as kings. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am everything you said I am. I do that. My flesh says no, but I'm not talking. Well, I'm not looking in the mirror to see myself. I'm looking in the mirror to talk to that man that's inside what I'm looking at and say, you're awesome in God. You're reigning on God. You're a king. You rule. You reign. You rule sickness. You rule diseases. You rule circumstances. You rule the day. You get up and say, day, you're mine. I'm a king. And I'm going to tell you what to do. You're not going to tell me what to do. A person cannot travel within and stand still without. A person cannot travel within and stand still without. In other words, it's a moving in here. And because there's a moving in here, there's going to be a moving outside. God's a consuming fire. When God puts something in you, you just get happy and excited about it. So something's moving outside. There can't be nothing happening outside. No. It's a lot of production. I believe in I say and I'm doing. That's what the lady with the issue of blood did. When she heard, you're coming to hear. She heard. The woman with the issue of blood, she heard. And then she said, but then what happened? She said she did what she said. She said it, she did it. Then she received, because she said and did it, she received. But then she said, now I'm going to tell it. You got to tell it. You got to tell what you heard. You got to tell it. Why? The Bible said we overcome the devil by the word of our testimony in the blood. You got to tell it. Tell him what he did. Tell him what he's doing. You got to get an attitude. Don't get this phony humbleness. You are somebody. Walk in a room and say, this room is mine. I'm from it. Walk in there because you're a king. I'm not just an ordinary person walking in. You realize who you're talking to, who you're putting your hands on. Attitude is very important in pursuing your vision and your dream. Attitude is an inward feeling inside. I got this attitude because I know God called me. I got this attitude because I know I'm anointed. You got to know. When you want to do something, yeah, God was involved, but I put my hands on you. Get this false humility. Well, it's all God. No, it praise to God, he said, that's false humility. If you hadn't obeyed me, I couldn't have used you. You know why this place is here? Because he used us. So it's not all God. They're not coming down here to put up buildings. They have to use them. I said he had to use it. He's got to use it. They let him. I said they let him. So attitude seems to be, it can be seen. That's a good attitude that can be seen. But then there's that attitude like, see, you're always seeing that attitude right there. The man of God's anointed and they're sitting like this. That's an attitude.
Yeah.
It's a good attitude here. Because of them. You're well taught. You're well ministered. This is a good church. I love to come here. When I go by, I say, thank you for having me know this man and woman of God. They're not a joke. They know the word. They know the word. Oh, yeah. The only one that can stop you from winning is you and your attitude. So be a hearer of the word. And a doer and win. Whatever you do, just do it. And then not be religious about it. That's why I like the freedom here. Feels like I'm home. We're free where we're at. You know you're free and you come to a place where you're free and say, oh, good. Now that you're free and go someplace, oh, we have to take it out of here. Sing one song where you make it short. You get over there in the book of the Gospel of John chapter 1 and verse 2, John chapter 2 verse 1. Watch this. Here comes Jesus and his mother and the disciples. Now, this is a wedding, not a church. This is a wedding, not a church. But there's a need there. And they're getting drunk. Whoops. What did Jesus say? I came to meet needs. There was lack, and God don't deal with lack, he deals with prosperity. She mentioned it. There was a need there. Lack. What was there? Poverty. And some of the greatest blessings will be in other places if we'll be obedient. Some places we go that God sends us with the greatest blessings. But you see, it doesn't have a steeple or a cross in the window. You're the cross. You're blood bought. You're anointed. You are the church. You know what Jesus did? See, they ran out of wine. Too many times. See, they got problems like we do. Too many times problems drive us away from Jesus instead of driving us to him. When I got a problem, I said, whoo-hoo, I'm going to talk to Jesus. When I got a problem, I said, ooh, the Holy Ghost going to talk to me. And Lord, this is a big mess, and I'm the mess that did it. And the Holy Ghost said, here, I want to tell you how to do this. I want to tell you why you did it wrong. I want to tell you how to do it right. And now that I tell you what you did wrong and how it's right, now you recognize it, you won't ever do it again. That's an opportunity. Oh, Jesus will make you look good in the Holy Ghost. So Jesus, Mary saw this, but not in church. And Mary said, you know, whatever he said, do it. And Jesus, right there, in a need at a wedding where they were already drunk. And Jesus said, fill the water pots. Glory to God. I'm about to do something here because there's a need. See? Mary laid hold of a possibility of a miracle and she said, Jesus is here. Just obey whatever he says. There's a possibility of a miracle here. Hallelujah. So wherever you go, there's a possibility. Because the greater one is in you. And if we just listen, hallelujah. We just listen to her. I've never been in this place before. He said, that's why I brought you here. Because I'm everywhere. I'm in you, but I'm everywhere. I'm back there, over there. I'm in the car, I'm at home, at your house. I'm everywhere. But I want to have you do something you ain't never done before. How do you know it's God? The result, the fruit of it. Hallelujah. See, you couldn't do this kind of fruit without me. I'm the vine, see, you're the branch. We got to be careful that a branch is not dying on the vine. Because whatever on the vine's got to be on the branches. In other words, I got to let him prune me. I got to let him prune me. A branch when it's down like this, it's no good no more. So you got to prune it so you get more power from the vine. And then the trees begin to look like this. But when we start getting low, God said, I need to prune you. I need to send you to a person, a place, and a book. Because you're low. I'm sending you somebody that's hooked up to the vine. And they lay hands on you. They speak a word. They sing a song. And you say, okay, you just got pruned. You just got adjusted. Like when you got a car. The Holy Ghost in them will adjust you. There was a young man. At the age of 2 years old, he contracted polio. His leg wouldn't work. His parents put him in a wooden box and tied a rope around him. And they would pull him all around him. And they said, you'll never walk. But for several years, they would put him around and they would put him in front of a mirror. And for many years, he would sit there and look in the mirror. And he started getting a vision. He didn't see himself crippled. He didn't see himself there. He saw himself standing up. So he would stand up and fall over, and his mom and dad had to come and put him back in the box. But he kept moving around and fall out again. But one day, because of what he saw, see, if you can see it, you can have it. Without a vision, you perish. A vision means without a blueprint. You don't have a blueprint of what God says you are and where you're going, we perish. And we don't perish overnight, we perish. Yeah. See, I got to have a blueprint. I like what God's taking you, but I got a blueprint for mine. Let's both of us go together. I wonder what he's going to do with both of us. I wonder what he's going to do with 50 of us. 100 of us that got blueprints in life. One can sing, one can run the soundboard. One can clean the bathroom, one can clean outside. Glory to God. Blueprints, visions, visionaries, goal setters, goal tenders, goal accomplishers. But one day he got out. You know what? He outlived all his family. Outlived them all. Every one of them. And ended up being a multi-millionaire. Because he saw himself, but he didn't see himself how other people said he was. He had a vision. And he started running toward your dream. See, run toward your dream. Run. You know, when Paul said forgetting those things which are behind, he didn't say forget everything. He just said forget those things that are behind. But if you read it in context, why did he say forgetting those things which are behind? Because he used to get people to go get them to be killed, Christians. He was mean. It wasn't Paul, it was Saul. He said forgetting the things, don't forget everything. There's good traditions. Birthdays are all right. Thanksgiving days, Christmas are good. Anniversaries are good. You don't forget everything. Read the context. He said, forgetting those things that hinder us. Those things that so easily beset us. The weight. See, it's not just the sin that holds us back. It's the weight. But God said, if you come with me, I'll take the weights off. We walk by faith and not by sight. We walk by revelation. And so he outlived them all and became a multi-millionaire. And the property that he bought, this property is where the Space Needle was built on his property. Yet he was crippled. He couldn't walk. That's why we were blind and now we can see. We're not crippled no more. No. We're running. Yeah. Running the race. But you see, we have a destination. But a lot of times people are looking at the destination and forgetting the journey. The journey is to enjoy the journey to your destination. Have fun on your journey. What are you doing? Excited. I'm having fun. Why? I'm on this journey of success. I'm on this journey of life. I'm on my way to heaven. I'm not bitter. I'm not upset. I'm not bewildered. I got jealous, but I'm on a success journey. Yeah, heaven's mine. But many people on the way to heaven, they're bitter. They're upset. They're jealous. And that's why God has called this man and woman to show you love. What? They had challenges, but they kept building. Because God is still building. He said, I want to build my church. That's us, huh? Well, if I'm still alive, then God's still building me. I'm still growing. I said, I'm still growing. I'm still here. So God is building, but He builds through His principles and His law. He has to build through His anointing, and He has to put His anointing on those that would submit and yield. They're yielding, they're submitting. And then we're made in the image of God to finish our race. I said we're made in the image of God. So it's of a necessity then that we be what? Spirit. So God said, let us make man in our image. And let them give him dominion. How do you have dominion? Through words. Words. Death and life are in the power of your tongue. Nobody else's tongue. No other tongue can stop you from doing what God has called you to do except your tongue. Only your tongue can stop you. Oh, but when somebody's got the tongue of a mighty writer, a pen of a mighty writer, they're speaking words. And when they speak those words, they're speaking the words that God says. And they're creating a journey. They're looking at the destiny, but enjoying the journey. Glory to God. So have fun every day. And if other people aren't having fun, have fun anyway. Don't apologize for being successful. Don't apologize for being happy. Because why? God didn't just give it to you. He will reward it. Rewarded means you did something to get rewarded. He's not handing out. He's giving rewards. And the diligence will come to him. This year is not just because. It's not just because. No, diligence. Faithfulness. When every day, regardless if it's cloudy or sunshine or not, it's here because. When you walk in a place, it's because. And you want to know at the person that caused the because. You respect that. I said you respect that. The gift. When you respect the gift, you get your drop from it. Don't respect the gift can't do nothing for you. I respect the gift. I do. I respect it. I'm not just talking out of my head. I'm talking from here. God knows what I'm saying. Respect this man and woman of God. We have a vision. But I'm saying they have a vision. A vision of leaders here. A children's wing. Adults, businessmen and women. Vision. And you know, young people say it, they say, whoa, what's going on here? I'm going to go check this out. We're born leaders. Because of the leading of the Holy Spirit. So, in the book of Acts chapter 2 verse 17, because we're talking about a quest, means a pursuit of something. So they have a quest of vision. They're in pursuit of what God has told them to do. And in Acts chapter 2 verse 17, it said in the last days, I will give visions and dreams to young people and older people. And we live by the dreams that God puts in us. And the dreams and the visions. I'll take all the vision you give me, God, because I don't want to perish.
That's right.
Glory to God. Yeah. Dreams, night visions. That's when you're dreaming at night. It's a night vision. It's dreams. Well, how do you know it's God? Because you know who He is. You know His voice, and a stranger you will not listen to. So when you're reading something, you get up in the morning, you say, now God, what was it? Was that just a dream or was you? And you know His voice, that was me, so I'll get out with it. I'll get to doing it. And God never gives you the money first. He gives you the faith to get the money. God doesn't discuss money. He discusses faith. Faith. He doesn't look at numbers. He is the number. He doesn't look at numbers. He doesn't say how much you got to start. He says, start it. Start it. So, and then Jesus came along and said it's so simple to us. I'm glad it's simple. I'm into simplicity. And Jesus said, I am come that you might have life and have it more abundant. You know what He said? You have life, but it's not abundant yet. You have life, but you got that kind of life. I'm giving you the kind of life that they live in heaven. They don't worry up there. They're never sick. They don't worry. Satan's not a problem to them up there in heaven. And I'm going to let you know I'm going to bring you this kind of life. That works at me and my Father do shall you do also. You do works. 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 Hallelujah. That's why I'm glad I came. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited. Very excited because I said, God, I need to hear what you're going to say. But when you get around a man or woman like that, you know it's going to be something that's going to be good. We want to hear a good report. We want to hear the Word of God because when you hear the Word of God, faith comes. Hey, can you see that? And you leave out of here, you say, oh, I'm glad I went. Steps of a righteous man are ordered of the Lord. So then we see that through Jesus, His laws of prosperity and faith. You can be a mountain mover. You can move the mountains. You don't need to ask God, help me. He said, move it yourself. I got authority. You have authority. I put power in you. I put anointing in you. I'll say it this way. This is years later. Because, you know, He carries us. And He helps us with pastors. And apostles and prophets, pastors and teachers. But one day He puts you down on your 2 feet. And I remember one time I had an attack on my body. And I said, Jesus, please heal me. He said, I can't. I said, what'd you say? He said, I can't heal you. Why can't you heal me? Haven't you read my word? I healed you before the foundation of the world. By my word, you were healed. You just got to grow and develop and receive what I already did. You're already wealthy. You're already healthy. You're already blessed. That was the song. Blessed. So don't ever ask me to bless you. You're blessed to bless yourself. Read my Bible. I've blessed you to be a blessing. I'm giving you a blessing singular so you can get blessings A, plural. 5, 10, 20, 30, as long as you live blessing. Are you after the blessing? Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. Why? Because I can share them with people. Glory to God. That's what they're doing. They got blessed by God, but they're sharing. They could have kept them to themselves. He could have said, hey, this is good stuff. Let's not just us two in our family. Don't tell nobody about it. Let them get it on their own. But they did. So they're giving, and so God has to give them back. Why? He wrote the law. That's right. He wrote it. As they're giving. I said, as they're giving. Be strong. How do you think strong? Think big. How do you think big? Think God. Think universe. Mars, Saturn. Think the stars. Gravity. Glory to God. Think success. Don't think failure. What do you think at home? At your home, substitute success thinking for failure thinking. I can, I'm able, I will. I can, I know. Because when you face a failure situation, you gotta say, I'll win. I won the other one. I'm gonna win again. Now I'll probably lose. Yeah, you probably will. Because death and life and the power of the tongue. And when you compete, think, I'm equal to the best. When they ask me how you doing, I said better than good and better than most. It means I haven't arrived, but I'm doing good and better than most. I'm not at the hospital in the intensive care unit. I'm walking on my own 2 feet. I'm driving my car. This is not a borrowed car. Why? Because he gave me wealth. A wealth of ideas, a wealth of anointing, a wealth of favor, a wealth of grace, multiplied grace through faith. And all this grace is getting me in where nobody else can get in. They don't know it, but they have to give it to me. So you have to say, I will succeed. The will's involved. You got to get your will involved. I will. The will is a powerful weapon. Because with the will you can say, God, back off. And God says, I got to back off. Get your will involved. I will get up and win. I will get up tomorrow. It'll be a different day. I will make the day different. I will. Glory to God. Glory to Jesus. That's it. See, now when you say that, see what you just said? God's got to back it up. He's got to back it up. If God tells you to say something, you say it. Then God said, she said it. That's an angel, seraphim, cherubim. Make it happen. She said it. Why say something then he never do it? Just don't say nothing, God. We won't get false hopes. See, we don't use it as it's just a filler up, stand up and say the Lord is good and mercy good forever. No, we're saying that He got to, but we say He got to do it. We're not just saying, we're blessing the city, blessing the field, blessing going in, blessing going out. You got God's here now. Who's that down there saying that to me? I said, I gotta get on it. Hallelujah. Get on it. So let's master. Let's be masters. Why can you and I master anything? Because we're new creatures in Christ. If we're new creatures in Christ, we're a species that never existed. That's why you got the New Testament. You can study the Old Testament, sure, study it, but you don't live by that. See, because if the Old Testament was good, then why give us a new one? So what he's telling us, I'm giving you this new one. Why? Because you never existed. You were spiritually dead. So what happened? You asked for my son Jesus to come into you, and now you begin to live. Now, he said, you're a new creature. But see, I got some new order. I got some new books, some new letters, and they're love letters. They're wealth letters. They're wealth of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, supernatural living. You're a new creature, a new species that never existed. And this is how you live. You live by faith and not by sight. You live by vision. And you say, I will succeed. See, because what? God said, let us make men in our image and women in our image. So that means of a necessity, He had to make us all spirits. When He made us all spirits, watch this. What is God? A creator. What are we? Co-creators. Co-creators. We're co-creators. Glory to God. Create your vision. Create your destiny. Create your life by God's principles and law. But people say, how you doing? This is what I'm doing. I'm a co-creator. And I'm living by the divine principles of God. Dominate. That's why Paul had a revelation. I'm working on it to get it. Paul said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Why can you do all things? I don't understand this, Paul. I've heard many teachers. I can do all things. See, he had a relationship with God based on fellowship. It's one thing knowing about God, it's another thing knowing Him. When you know Him, you know how to live like Him. And so we know we're co-creators. So you create from the principles and laws here. He said, I'm going to create my day. If this is the day the Lord has made, I'll rejoice and be glad. And here's what I want in my day. Success. My car's not going to break down. I got a business is to be number one in the community. See, you're creating your day. Every day you create your day. Don't ask God to make it. No, you make it. You're a co-creator. You can do it. You can do it. I said, you can do it. That's why I like this. I always tell my wife, baby, the first time I stepped in this building, I said, you know what I saw there? A spirit of excellence. Spirit of excellence. You get freedom here. Law operate the laws of faith, the laws of prosperity, because laws govern. We have the mind of Christ. Yeah, I got him. You know, I'm always asking. I want to learn. I said, Lord, if I have your mind, why am I in this mess? He said, you have the mind potentially. It's what you do with it. It's what you ask me. What do you mean, Lord? Ask me what I think about what you should be doing in this situation. Wow, that's right. Now you got my mind on what you should be doing. We have the mind of Christ potentially. How we humble ourselves and submit and yield and say, Lord, I'll give you a clue a little bit about me, because I came here to minister for them. I didn't come about me, but I just got to show you this. I don't like cold weather. I despise it. And look where God sent me to minister. Cold, sleet, ice, all of that, cold. The people there are sure they know I like it. They always got my office warm. Even today they have to eat around. Why? I don't like. I like the people in Michigan. I don't like the weather in Michigan. But God sent me here. He sent me here. He's the boss. I said, okay, Lord. I'm just going to let you know that. Okay, Lord God. I'm here. I don't like here. I love the people, but I don't like it here. He said, you can go any place you want to, but I only want you to go there. Go for it. Just take off. Go to where it's real warm, where it's real nice, and see what happens. It'll be all you, nothing but flesh. Everybody got to listen to you. See, I can do all things through the anointing. That's why they're successful here. Look where they're at. There's big cities, big places. And see, people go to big places. We're in a big place. We're in Christ. He's bigger than all the places. I said he's bigger than all the places. Now I'll finish up with this. The Holy Ghost is telling me to do this. You know, to people. Successful people are not superhuman, supermen or superwomen. You know, super intellect. Right. And there's nothing mystical about success. Success is not based on luck. Successful people are just ordinary people. They God makes them extraordinary. They have developed belief in what they do. The person that conquered Mount Everest, you know what his experience, how skilled he was, and why he conquered Mount Everest after 3 times? You know what he was? He was a beekeeper. Imagine being a beekeeper is qualified him to get how are you going to have a beekeeper conquer Mount Everest? God said, all they have to do is beekeeper. You know who got us in the air? The Wright brothers. What qualified them? Taking care of bicycles. What do you do? Take somebody ordinary. Everybody knows the Wright brothers. Everybody knows who conquered Mount Everest. How'd you do it? How's a beekeeper? And I decided, you know what, I want to do this. Failed 2 times. 3rd time he did it. He didn't fail 2 times. He found out how to do it. In that failure, he said, we can't do this. And the next time, then another failure, I can't do this. And I learned from those ordinary people, because I'm ordinary. Then I go to God and I said, Lord, why isn't this here not making it? He said, I'm glad you asked. You're about to get promoted. You did this wrong, you trusted that person, you trusted that person. You didn't trust me. Are you seeing this? That's why men in the Bible got in trouble, because they went to the flesh instead of the God. And God will allow us what we allow. So, and so we see that in closing, never sell yourself short. Believe big. Believe big. The size of your success is determined by the size of your believing. The size of your success is the size of your belief. I believe in God and the Scriptures. I'm not done yet. I've gone to doctor and said this, and that. I said, that's what you say. I don't do it. I just walk out and I said, look, I know how long I'm supposed to live. I don't feel like dying another 10, 15 years. I don't feel like I'm not going to. If Moses lived 120, and I always tell people, when he climbed up the mountain, nobody took him up on a horse. He walked up himself. 120-year-old man walking up there by himself. He didn't need no help. And you're the same God. You're the same God. We'll talk when I'm 95. We'll talk. I'll let you know. And I firmly believe it. I believe it. Why? Because I'm making goals up to 95. Well, what if? No. If it's a badge of doubt, it'll starve your faith. It's a badge of doubt. It'll starve your faith. Doubt will kill your dreams and visions. Don't complain. Don't murmur. Israel murmured and complained and didn't go into the promised land. They could see it, but couldn't go in. See, in Christianity, it's not near how near you get. It's to get in. Some people go to church and they're just in church, but they never get in. Wow. But they're close. They're close. They're real close, but they're never in. All right. And some people just drop their kids off at church. That's a far off. There's those that are far off, near, and then those that are near. But neither one got in. You have to get in. Involved in a vision. They got in, and they want you to get involved in the vision for this church. Yes. In the vision for this community. Okay? Without a vision, you see, you can't give what you don't have, but they got it, so they're giving it. Glory to God. I say glory to God. Glory to God. So, when I say to you, it's one day at a time, but one day, glorious day. It's not one day of suffering. It's one day I said, wow, I'm talking with God, I'm sitting on his lap. Yes, he's God, but Mama, he's Daddy. Hi, Daddy. That's what it means in the Bible. Abba means Daddy. We get so holy and religious. Lord, here I come to you. I bow my head. Why don't you open up your eyes and don't trip under everything? All that. I'm Daddy. Abba, Daddy. Well, God was saying in the Old Testament, he could only call him God. But why? None of them were born again. But here in the New Testament, we got born again. He's God, but he's Daddy. Yes, you reverence him. Yes, you reverence him. But man, don't get so religious, you never call him Daddy. My kids don't say, Reverend Rodriguez. What can you do? We're going to have fun in a bit, Reverend Rodriguez. No, they don't. Some call me Daddy, some call me Pop. Some call me Dad. They respect me. But we need to take all off this religious stuff that's so easy and start having some fun in church. They were having fun. He said, excuse me. No, we're not. Excuse me, but I got something on the inside of this money and I excuse me. Really, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think. I came here to hear, and I'm hearing God, and God said, dance. Dance. So throw a little step in there you don't like, but I'm going to step in there. Yeah. Well, that's what God asked me. Oh, wait, I got it. When I was introduced to this family here, I saw the freedom they had. All of them. There ain't one stiff board around them and their family. They all dance anywhere. They don't say, oh my God, you better not do it here. They go for it. And I like their wives. They're not phonies. God don't like phony people. Because we're not dancing before them, we're dancing in Him. Dancing in Christ. Glory to God. Raise your hands to the Lord. Father, we love you. We praise you. We give you glory. Oh, Father, we adore you. We magnify your name. We exalt you above everything. We give you the praise. We give you the glory. Thank you for calling all of us. Thank you for giving us gifts of the Spirit, fruit of the Spirit. Thank you for opening up the eyes of our understanding, the hidden man of the heart. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Oh, I praise you, Lord. I worship you. We glorify you. We exalt you. We give you thanks, Father. Thank you, Lord. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. You're blessed. Oh, Lord, I thank you. I bless you. Thank you, Lord, for your love, unconditional love. Thank you for setting us free. Thank you for keeping us free through your love, through your apostles and prophets and prophetess. Thank you for the messengers you sent to us to align us when we're getting out of your path of righteousness. We thank you, Lord. We praise your holy name. We give you glory. We give you praise. We give you praise. We give you praise. We give you all the glory and the praise. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for sending us. Thank you for putting Satan under our feet. Sickness and diseases under our feet. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you. There's so much people that understand, not that criticize, people that understand the things of the Spirit. That's who I listen to concerning your longevity. Only people that understand, that see with the eyes of the Spirit and unconditional love. And it's through their prayers and yours, not just them. Because I will not go anything against your will. No matter how many people pray, but they got to pray according to my will and your will. And the Spirit of God said to tell you, I'm answering the prayer of righteous people that have right standing with me and know what this is all about. And me answering them, you can count on every desire and every need that you have. Yes, God. Because of your willingness. Oh, they make it hard on your flesh, on your mind. But God says, they're outnumbered. There's more for you than against you. There's more people that understand the things of the Spirit and what's happening behind the Spirit. They're looking at genetics instead of the Spirit of God. And what your past is good in me. Because you come from the bloodline of God Almighty. And so, it's okay. Your physician, the physician said, it's all right. But your Lord and your God and your Savior said, they don't understand, but I do, and you do too. Yeah. That's what he said to tell you. I didn't know what I was going to say because I'm standing right here in front of you. Because when he speaks, it's guaranteed. I said it's guaranteed. Death! Y'all got to back that up. You got to do it. Because she's coming from the heart. She's not a cheerleader up here. She's coming from the side.
I have believed God.
See?
I have believed God. Someone told me the other day, I said, first you need to be quiet because they weren't speaking life over me, they were speaking death. But I said, they don't have any power. They don't have any power. I got the power. And I got enough people that's praying for me and my own sisters and family. I believe God. This is my time and this is my hour. This is just a process I'm going through. But there is something on the other side. There is something on the other side. God said there's a production done. There's a giving of birth. Hallelujah. He told me 9 gifts of the Spirit, 9 fruits of the Spirit, 9 months for pregnancy to come. You about to give birth. There's going to be a manifestation of what God promised me on the Aldrich Glen. It's mine. It's my inheritance. It belongs to me.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Are you saved today? If you're not saved, you're not sure if you would go to heaven if you leave this world. Just raise that hand. You're not certain of your salvation. You're not certain of your life with God. Is there one? Just raise that hand and say, I'm not sure, Pastor. I want to be sure before I leave this service today. Is there one? I trust that you have a church home. If you don't have a church home, you got agape faith, you got New Christ Community Church, you got Center of Attraction. I don't know what other churches are represented here. Get yourself in a good church. Bible-believing, Christ-centered, Spirit-filled, kingdom-advancing church. Amen. Hallelujah. I want you to give it up for the man of God. Hallelujah. Man doesn't live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. We're coming to a close, and we're going to have.
Some people didn't get a chance to give. Let's bring the basket up. When you got here late, okay, the basket is there. They didn't know that though, that they were here. The basket's up front, and we're blessing Pastor Rodriguez. You can come and give now and bless him if you didn't get a chance to give. We don't want you to give.
Amen. Hallelujah. All right, so, you just come at any time and give. All right, we're coming to a close. Last words.
You would have thought that Dr. Rodriguez was in the office when I was talking to Apostle Ruby. I was telling her about the vision and some things I wanted to do. And you came on and spoke about the teaching or the children's wing. I said, well, we can do this and that. I said, we got to do some children's wings and that. And you came on and spoke, and I said, I looked and said, did he just say that? Okay, so yes, the Lord was just confirming things, and the whole day was just wonderful. What God is doing. God is doing something new. God is up to something. And so we're expecting. I'm looking for it. Hallelujah. And more people are coming with like vision. God is sending the right people in to help us, and the load is getting easier. It's not going to be hard like it was at the beginning. And that's the prophecy of the Lord. It's going to be way easier, and I am so glad.
Praise the Lord. I just want to say I appreciate the word, first of all, from the man of God, a quest for dreams and goals. He said a quest is a pursuit to obtain. Isn't that similar to our church members? As your apostle said, this is the time and the season to press through the pressure to the promise. That's right. And so that's certainly and directly what we're doing and what we continue to do. 36 years. As I was I couldn't do it without my wife, of course. Unity is not just with you. Unity is 1 plus 1. And so again, collectively, we've been doing this, and and working hard at it. And we thank God that we're in a debt-free church and land is debt-free, and we're ready to build, and that's in the works even now. Hallelujah. 36, you break that number down. 3 represents the twin Trinity, and 6 represents man. And certainly God has been with man and with us during this 36-year process and journey. Now, recognition to those who work behind the scenes, those that made all of this happen, and you ate and you enjoyed fellowship and the music and all that took place. I want to thank Marianne. Give her a hand, Marianne. Give her a hand back there, Marianne. She's working back there. And the anniversary committee team, and those who cook, and those who helped serve. They're all over here. Come on, raise your hands. Amen. God bless you. Amen. We love you. We love you. My. I just want to get a little taste, a little bit more taste of something here. All that good old cooking. Hallelujah. It's a wonderful thing and the decorations this year. Weren't they wonderful? Decorators, stand up, decorators. Stand up, decorator. Yeah. Everyone who contributed to the food. I know we have some coming from Christ Community and some others, and we thank God for you. We're a many-member body. Stand to your feet, many-member body, and we're working together as one. Thank you for coming and celebrating with us, and we invite you next year too, because we're doing it 37, 38, 39, and 40. I don't know what we're going to do. 40. We got to bring in some more people and do some, what you say, some stupendous things. Amen. A concert? Have a concert? All right. Well, we get y'all young people together and y'all work that out. Amen. Certainly, we thank God again for Christ Community and Center of Attraction. Let's thank Agape Faith Fellowship for being here. Thank God for our pastor, Pastor Wilkins. It's good to see you. Pastor Evelyn came tonight. God bless you. And Pastor Audrey and Co-Pastor Seals here. And I hope I didn't miss anyone. But certainly we love you and we thank you. Now, the benediction.
Amen. I'm going to read from Numbers 6, verse 24. The Bible says, "The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord makes his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them." Go in peace. Hug somebody. Tell them that you love them. And let Jesus be the center of your attraction. You're dismissed.